Welcome to Thoughts on Change, where we explore the mindsets and moves that make change feel less like a battle and more like a breakthrough. I'm your host, Kelly Mallory. Hello again. So, how many of you have poured time and energy into culture change only to see short-term excitement fade and people slip back into old habits, and before long, you're right back where you started? If that sounds familiar, here's the hard truth. You might be aiming at the wrong target. You don't change culture by focusing on culture. That's a lesson I learned the hard way when I stepped into my current role as a CI leader. So I had just accepted this job it's a big role as a new site CI leader at the second largest revenue site in a new company. So new job, new company, new industry. I went from aerospace to medical devices. And in the days leading up to the move, I had some doubts hit really hard. This is going to be really hard. Did I make the right choice? What if I can't do this? And this was classic imposter syndrome. In my last meeting with my mentor at this previous job before switching, I confessed all of this. And she simply said to me, for your first few days, just listen for the cultural norms. And I was shocked. I was like, how do I even listen for these cultural norms? But I took her advice and I started this new job. And on day one, I carried around a notebook and I just listened. And I captured what people said, how they interacted, and the conclusions I drew about what really defined the culture at this site. And something really surprising happened. Pretty quickly, I had a clear current state, and my improvement kata training kicked in, and I saw, oh, I need to develop a challenge and understand their next target condition with respect to this culture and where I wanted it to go. And through this process, it was about more than inspiring people. It was about building systems and measures to reinforce the shift in behavior we wanted to see. And so fast forward a couple of years and the culture has transformed. We're not there, right? We're not done. We never are done, but the site is on a true journey toward a culture centered on people and learning, which is exactly what we're all trying to do as continuous improvement practitioners. And, culture is what we all want to shift, but often we talk about a lean culture or a learning culture or a Kaizen culture, but what does that really mean? Culture isn't slogans, it isn't posters, it isn't even a mindset. As my friend Mark Rosenthal says, culture is the summation of our collective behaviors, and our behaviors are defined by the systems we operate in. So if you want to shift culture, don't just train people on new behaviors, change the systems that drive and reinforce those behaviors. Otherwise, you'll get short-term compliance, but no lasting change. Why? Because people default to what they practice most often. So if 90% of the time their work week is spent in systems that reinforce the old way, then your 4-hour training session isn't enough to make the new way stick. This is the key. We need to learn to observe behaviors, uncover the systems and processes that drive them, and work to shift those systems and processes in order to shift the behaviors, in order to shift the culture. And if we want behaviors to change and stick, we have to address the systems. So here's what I challenge you to do. Observe your current cultural norms. Go listen for them. Pay attention to how people talk about problems, about problem solving, about improvement. And then compare what you're hearing. So compare and contrast what you hear with the culture you want to build. Once you've done that and identified those key gaps, trace them back to the systems and processes that reinforce the current behaviors. And then experiment. Pick one system to start with and run small, deliberate experiments to shift the system, shift the behaviors, and shift the culture. Because if you want lasting cultural transformation, which I think we all do, the path isn't just through people's attitudes, it's through the systems that shape their everyday behaviors. That's how you move from battle to breakthrough. So let me know how it goes and what you learn. Because changing our default thinking and behavior is really difficult, and not just changing ours, changing that of others. But it has a massive impact on our ability to lead effective change. And this is the way that we impact business results and cultures. And this is exactly how I help change agents like you in my one on one coaching. I meet with clients weekly to work on a specific goal that they have to be a better change leader and have better results. So if you're interested in learning more, visit my website, kellymallory.com, or send me an email at kelly@kellymallory.com. See you next time. Here's to less battle and more breakthrough, one mindset shift at a time. Thanks for watching.